Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we are back again with a new video. In this video, we are going to see the 6 stages of Python function development. So basically, we are going to focus on Python functions, okay, and we are going to see all the stages, okay, of Python function. Now, let's just start. The first stage is how to create a basic function, okay. So at this level, functions are very simple and they perform only single tasks. And in this stage, we do not include any parameters or return values. So it is a very normal and basic function, okay? So I have an example. As you can see, I've created a function called as greet, okay? So whenever we create a function, we have to use the keyword def in Python, okay? So def stands for define. So def, then the function name followed by the parenthesis and then colon to start the scope of the function. And we are just printing hello world, print hello world, and we are calling the function. Okay, so for calling the function we need to write the name of the function followed by the parenthesis. Okay, and then we have to execute the cell, so hello world will be printed. So this is the very first and very basic stage. Now let's move to the next stage, parameterized functions. So in this stage basically we take parameters in the functions. Okay, now parameters are nothing but the variables which we take, which we define at the time of function when creating the function. So now in this stage, function starts accepting the parameters, which makes them more flexible and reusable. Now let's see this code. So I have taken the first code only, def greet, but this time we are making it more flexible by giving it a parameter as name. Now, what is the use of this name and why we are using this name? So it is very useful as you can see in the previous code in the first stage, we were just printing hello world. Okay. Now, in this stage, we can print hello with giving the name. Now, whenever we have to uh, give the name, so at the time of calling, we can put your own value. Suppose I have at the time of calling, I have put CL coding. So now when I'll call the function, I'll execute the code. So you will see, you will get hello CL coding. So it makes the first stage more interactive, okay, with the user, because at the function calling time, you can take your own value. So this is called as parameterized function because we are taking a parameter in the function. Okay, now let's move to the next stage, that is function with return values. Now, coming out of this stage, at this stage, function start returning values. Okay, now with returning values there is one thing, that whenever we return value we need to catch the value in the sense we have to keep a variable or an object to store the returned value by the function, to store in that and then print that uh, print that object or the variable. Okay, so at this stage, functions return values instead of just printing. Okay, so earlier we were just printing it. Now we are going to return the values. Okay, now this allows the caller functions to use the result. Okay, now what is this result? This result could be an any variable or it can be an object. Okay, now you can see here I have created a function as add, which takes two parameter a and b, and instead of printing a plus b, I'm just returning a plus b. Okay, so when we return a plus b, so we need to catch it, okay, in some variable or an object. Okay, so here we have created a result object in which what we are going to do, in which we are calling our function add. Okay, add with two values, obviously, because we are taking two parameters a and b, so we have given 3 comma 5, and now when we'll print result, we'll get the addition of them as 8. Okay, so yeah, now with the return statement there is one thing that we can perform. Suppose if you have to print some values, so we can return that statement also, means that sentence also. We can perform operations with two different variables or multiple variables. We can perform operations with different values also using return. So yeah, return is also flexible like print only, but one thing of return is that it is used with Python functions only. Okay, so yeah, now let's move to the next stage, that is function with default parameters. Okay, now this is the more advanced form of the second stage, that was the parameterized functions. Now at this stage, function start taking default parameters. Okay, now before going to this stage, I'll show you one problem in the second stage, and for that problem, this fourth stage is the solution for that. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll call the function greet. Okay, but this time I'm not going to give any value. So it will give you an type error. Okay, as you can see, it is first when I've written CL coding means when I've given one value, so it is giving correct output. But for the second call, when I'm not putting any value, so it is giving a type error. Now this problem is resolved in the fourth stage. Okay, so we have come across with a new solution that is called as default parameters. So in default parameters, values are introduced at the time of function calling only, okay, which makes the function more versatile. Versatile in the sense we'll see now. As you can see, def greet name, we are defining a parameter name, but at the time of defining the parameter only, we are assigning the value also. Okay, so suppose equal to world. Then same thing, we are printing using the f string hello name. And now when I'll call the function, so you can see I have used two calls. One is the greet with no input, means with no value, and second greet with CL coding. So in the first one, you can see when we have no input, means when we have not taken any value, so it is taking the default value world. It is not generating a type error. Okay, so it is resolving the second stage problem. And then you can see when we are calling with it CL coding, so then it's not taking the default value, it is taking the new value given. Okay, so this is also something which is advanced. Okay, so this is the fourth stage with default parameters. Now let's move to the next stage, that is the fifth stage, in which functions with variable arguments. Okay, basically it is called as function with variable length arguments. uh, at this stage, function starts taking uh, any number of argument. Okay, suppose when we are creating a function and the number of parameter that is going to be used in that function, that is not fixed or that is not known, so then you can use this variable length argument. Okay, and you can provide, there are two types of variable length arguments, one with normal values and one is with the keyword arbitrary arguments. Okay, so let's see both of them one by one. Now suppose I have to create a function for performing addition of any number of inputs. Means suppose if you are giving four numbers or five numbers, so it will give you the addition of all of them. Okay, or suppose I can in the second or the third call I can give six number also, seven number also. So the number of parameters which we are going to take, that is not fixed, but we want the sum of all the parameters. Okay, so then for that, let's see how we can create the function and how we can use the variable length argument. So first of all, def, then the function name. Now see the way of taking the parameter. Okay, I have taken only single parameter args. Okay, but I have added an asterisk to it. Okay, so before giving the name, you have to add an asterisk to it. So this asterisk makes this single parameter as a variable length argument parameter. Okay, or variable length argument or variable length parameter, you can say. Then we are returning. Okay, we are returning, we are calling the sum function, which is the built-in function which will do the sum of all the values which you will take at the time of function calling. So sum function, and then we are putting the args. Okay, now then we are using the print function to call the function add all. And in the add all function you can see, and in the add function we can you can see that we have taken 1 2 3 4 5 number of. Okay, but here we have used only single name, but here we are taking five values, five arguments. Okay, and okay, let's call the function. So you will see 15 as in the output. Okay, you can add also, suppose you can add 6 to it. So the number is not fixed. You can add as many as numbers you want. It will do the sum of all the numbers. Okay, so 21. You can add 7 also. You can add again 1. Any number you can add and it will give you the value. Okay, it will do the sum of all the numbers. So this is very useful. Okay, now this was for single items. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now suppose if you have to give a keyword items, just like in dictionary how we give, so then for that what we have to do, again we have to create a function, and suppose this time we have to print the information about a particular person. Okay, so what does a person have? Name, age. Okay, these are the particulars which a person can have, so we will print all of those things. Okay, now different person can have different things. Suppose one person has name, age, address, and then phone number, then email. Then the second person would not have email. Could have only phone number. So for different person, the personal information can be different. So for that, we need to create a keyword arbitrary argument. Okay, so what we are going to do in this, at the time of taking the parameter, what we will do, we have to use a name, but before that name, we have to add two asterisks. Okay, so we will add two asterisks. Now this two asterisk means that it is a keyword arbitrary argument. Okay, then for printing it, just like how we print a dictionary with its items, we are going to use that concept only. Okay, so we'll start a loop for key value in whatever the parameter is, wargs dot items. So it is a function of dictionary. It is a dictionary function which print key and values both together. Okay, so yeah, and then we'll print the key, okay, and the value together. Now, at the time of function calling, you can add as many as numbers, means as many as well items you want. Suppose name, CL coding, age 25. Now let's do what, let's call it for a different person, CL coding 1, age 25. Now this person has the address also. Okay, next thing, then this person could have a mobile number also. Okay, so like this you can add as many as items you want, but that item should be in key value pair. So a key should be there, and then whatever the value you want to assign to that key, that should be also there. So this is how you can add as many as personal informations, means as many as items you want, and it will work. So yeah, now let's move to the next stage, that is the advanced function stage. Okay, now when we you have reached to these functions, so now you have mastered the basics functions, okay, and the intermediate level of functions. Okay, this is the advanced level of the function, okay, advanced stage of functions. In this, there are higher order functions, lambda functions, and decorators. So they are the very advanced concept, okay, in Python functions. Now I'll explain you about each of them. Now, what are higher order functions? So higher order functions are the functions which are capable of taking other function as parameter or can return them also. Means the functions which can take function as a parameter, okay? Earlier what we are doing, we are taking a parameter, a variable as a parameter, but now we are taking a function as a parameter only, and we can execute that function, we can return as a function also. So yeah, so that type of function are called as high order functions. Then there is lambda functions, which are also known as anonymous function or inline functions. So lambda functions are used for small operations, okay, small and specific type of operations. Okay, so lambda functions are there, and then there are decorators. So decorators are the type of function that modify the behavior of other functions. I can give you an example about the decorator. Suppose you can think a decorator like a gift. So if you imagine a gift, so if you'll not wrap the gift, so the person to you are gifting, that will guess that what is inside the box. But if you'll wrap it with a gift wrapper and then you'll present the gift, then what will happen? It will be a mystery, it will be exciting. Same thing happens with the decorators. When we use decorators, so basically a normal function, okay, a normal function, we wrap something to it. So whatever we have to perform before executing that normal function and after executing that normal function, so operations before and after executing that normal function, we can add using decorators. Okay, so that we'll see. Okay, so let's see an example. So I have created a function called as apply function, which takes two parameter. One, the function. Second, it takes the variable value, and then I'm returning this, the function which I'm taking as a parameter, I'm returning that, okay, with that value. Okay, so I'm returning the function, but that function will take that value as a parameter. Okay, so I have two functions here. I have first of all one function, apply function, that is the main function, which is taking a function as a parameter and a value which is a variable as a parameter, and I'm returning this function and I'm putting the value as a parameter to this function. Okay, so that is the main thing here. Then I'll just call the function apply function, and the first parameter was for a function. So now I will use lambda functions. Okay, now how to create a lambda function? First of all, let's see this. What is the work of this? Then I'll tell you how to create a lambda function. So x I'm taking a parameter x, and then I'm just doing the square of that value x. Okay. Now, how to create a lambda function? So whenever you're creating a lambda function, you have to use the keyword lambda with x, means with a parameter. Now this parameter length is not fixed. You can take as many as parameters you want, okay? But because of that, lambda functions are used for small operations only. So max length you can keep it as 2, 3, 4, okay? Max length, or it will be more complex. So lambda function is not for complex, okay? So yeah. So suppose I am taking one parameter here x, and whatever the operation I have to perform on that parameter. So I have to do the square of that value x. So on that parameter x, I'm just doing, okay, exponential operator 2. So it will do the square of that. And then the second parameter I'm taking in the apply function is for the value. So I'm giving a value 5. Now when I'll call the function, he will see 25. Okay. So basically the square of 5 is 25. So we are doing the square of 5. So that is 25. So this is how we have used the higher order functions. We have created our own higher order functions, and we have used the lambda function to pass the function, okay, as a parameter. Now let's see this decorator thing, okay. Uh, so for creating a decorator function, what you have to do? First, you have to define a decorator. So def decorator, and that decorator will take a function as a parameter, okay. Then inside the decorator function, we'll take a nested function. Okay, so that function name would be wrapper. So def wrapper. Now we'll call the function. So this function, what we are taking as a parameter, that we'll call it. But before calling it, whatever operations we want to perform. Suppose here I am just printing, I have used the print function to print a line that before the function call. Okay, and then whatever after executing this function, whatever you want to perform, once whatever the operation you want to perform. So I am again using a print function to print a line that after the function call. And then we have to just return the wrapper inside the decorator function. Okay, simple. So basically you will see we are wrapping this function, okay, with operations before and after it. Okay, okay. Then we are returning the wrapper inside the decorator function. Now, whenever you have to use this decorator, means whenever you have to perform wrapping on your function, on your original function, so you have to use at the rate, okay, name of the function decorator, just right above where you have declared your function. Just like here, this is my origin functions, def say hello. So just right above this say hello function, I have to call this, okay, at the rate decorator. So now this function will become a decorator function, and whatever you want to perform in the function, you can perform it. Suppose you want to perform print hello, so print hello, you will call the original function say hello. Now when you'll execute it, you will see that hello is there, but before hello there is, before the function call, means this line is getting executed, okay, and then hello is getting executed, and after hello, then this is getting executed, that after the function call. Okay, so this is called as decorator functions. So I hope you have understood all these stages of Python function development, and now you are ready to do your work in using Python functions. So thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned up. You'll see you in the next video.